Hello, welcome to your Libra full moon forecast. I'm Adrienne DeCotes, and I'm excited about this Libra full moon. It's actually the second full moon in Libra. It's rare to have two full moons in the same sign, one right after the other, but that is what we have this month. So this full moon, it's coming up on Friday, April the 19th, and in this video we're going to talk about the astrology and numerology of this full moon. So as I was saying, it's the second full moon in Libra. The first one was March 20th, and that was at 0 degrees, so at the very beginning of Libra. And then the one on the 19th is at the very last degree of Libra. It's at the 29th degree. And so I see this as a real double emphasis happening in Libra right now, which is really helpful, which I'll talk about in a minute why that's so. But first, let's get into what Libra is all about, because obviously the universe is wanting us to really focus on those energies right now. And what Libra is about, it's the sign that happens at the equinox, when spring happens and when fall happens, when the day and night are equal, depending on if you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere. And so it's this time when day and light are at a state of balance, are equal, and that's really one of the key aspects of Libra, is about this mode of balance or equilibrium or harmony. And this is what I think we're being invited to cultivate for ourselves during the time of this full moon, and especially with this double emphasis, double spotlight on these Libra qualities. Really having come just out of the Mercury retrograde, which was happening in Pisces for a few weeks, and Mercury's been in Pisces for a couple of months, that may have been leaving us feeling kind of confused, or may make us feel like we've gotten off track than maybe what our goals or intentions were at the beginning of this year. And this Libra full moon, it puts putting the spotlight on cultivating balance, cultivating what you can do to get yourself in this state of equilibrium and feeling this inner peace with what you are focusing on in your life and in yourself right now. That's going to help you move forward from a stronger place for the rest of 2019. And these energies of balance and equilibrium, they're so important to cultivate for yourself regardless, but especially at this time. And really what it's about, I think, is that if you take the opportunity to focus on how you can create this sense of inner peace or inner balance or inner harmony strongly within yourself first, before you go out into the world and have to face things that may be challenges or may trigger you to get off balance. It's really about just how can you cultivate that sense of ease, that sense of flow when you're by yourself first, and then make that strong, get yourself really used to it, practice the energy of it, practice the vibration of it. Then you're gonna have that become your default state, and it'll be easier once you are out in the world and things may be challenging you to just easily refocus back on how you wanna feel, that state of balance, equilibrium, peace, ease, flow, those Libra qualities that you wanna be experiencing. You can more easily maintain those and get back to them no matter what life may put in front of you. And so that's an invitation right now, is to cultivate those energies and be able to then approach our lives from a more proactive place rather than being reactive and just letting whatever's happening outside of us, just reacting to that. And if it's something positive, you feel really good. If it's something you see as negative, it throws you off balance, you start to feel bad. If you're living in the Libra way, then you can maintain this even keel, this neutral, beautiful, peaceful, balanced, sustainable, happy place, no matter what's happening. So, that's the key theme, I think, for this full moon. And then looking at the numerology, so April, it's a 7-month in numerology. And that's because the year 2019, it's a 3 in numerology, because 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 equals 12. And then in numerology, we always reduce to a single digit. So then you add the 1 plus the 2 and it equals a 3. And then we add that number 3 to the number for April, which is the 4. It's the 4th month. So then that makes April a 7 month. And this number 7, it ties in with the Libra full moon because the 7 is the hermit number. It's a mystical number. It's the hermit number because it's about when you cultivate alone time, you can more easily be open to divine downloads, divine messages. You can more easily receive from your intuition a lot of times when you're by yourself, when you're not really focused on a lot of things that are external and happening and other people's opinions or what other people are doing. You're more focused on what's going on within you. And that number 7, the form of it, it looks like a lightning strike, actually. And in numerology, that's always the case, where the form of the numbers gives you an insight about their symbolic meaning. And that lightning strike form of the number 7 represents that when you are creating that space and that alone time, you can receive these flashes of insight. And any activity that helps you kind of tune in and relax and be open, and that's positive time that you spend with yourself. Maybe it's taking a walk outside or exercising in some way. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's doing something creative, something artistic, anything that kind of nurtures you. There's an opening that's created where these insights can come into your mind. I'm sure you've had that experience before where maybe you have a question that something you've been wondering about in your life, or a choice that may be in front of you that you're not sure which direction is right for you, or maybe there's something that you want to manifest but you're not sure how it's going to happen, and you may just have that desire for the next step or the insight out there, but you haven't received it yet. But often, I find, at least, when I'm doing something where I'm not even focused on a problem that I'm trying to solve or the answer to a question I'm seeking, but I'm just enjoying myself, or I'm just focusing on something that's simple, that makes me feel peaceful, and I'm not even focusing on the topic, the answer to what I was wondering about can just flash into my mind, or I can just receive it from that place. And so that is part of the opportunity of the number 7 all month this month, is that you can be open to receiving these flashes of insight, and they come best when you are sort of living in this Libra mode of cultivating this state of peace and openness and balance within yourself first, and working to maintain that and stabilize it and make that be even more of your default place. And the good thing about this full moon is that full moons, they always illuminate things that we may not be seeing clearly yet. And so since it's in Libra, it may be illuminating some new ways that you could cultivate that state of balance and harmony more effectively. It may show you something that's really been triggering you to go out of balance, and how you might be able to, react to it differently or approach that topic differently. Some of those kind of issues can be illuminated at this full moon. And, that could especially be the case because this full moon, and really during the whole month of April, we do have some challenging energy as well. And, challenging energy, it's always something that helps us focus more clearly, get more clear about what we want, and maybe highlight some areas where we're ready to grow and expand in new ways, or do things differently, or where we really need to approach things differently in order to create what we want. And the challenging energy to this full moon this month is coming from a square aspect, a tense aspect coming from the planets that are in Capricorn right now, because Capricorn is another cardinal sign, so it squares Libra and Aries as well. The sun, it's been moving through Aries pretty steadily this month, and the entire time it's been getting square aspects from these planets in Capricorn. And so what this is about, it's pretty significant. This whole year we have this dance going on between Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. They have been approaching each other, getting closer and closer. And here in April, they're the closest to exact conjunction to being at the same degree that they're going to be until late December this year, right before they reach their exact meeting, their exact conjunction in January 2020. And so April really is an intensification of this Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn energy. And it's significant because Saturn and Pluto, they both have really slow cycles. Saturn takes about 30 years to go around the zodiac, and Pluto takes like 240 something years to go around. And so it's about every 35 years or so that they will meet in the sky. And every time they do, it's a very significant shift and transformation for humanity as a whole and for us as individuals, depending on where that is happening in our natal birth chart. Because Saturn is the planet that represents basically the tangible, the physical, the limits of the physical world and the structures that we see in this present reality that we all accept as the tangible, real 3D reality. So it's about limits, boundaries, the tangible, just, you know, kind of like the world that we all agree is our world. And Pluto is this powerful transformational energy. And so when they come together, you know, depending on what zodiac sign they're meeting in, it's about this profound transformation, this Pluto energy operating with the Saturn energy of the structures or the manifestations that currently exist in that domain. And so they're meeting in Capricorn, and the sign of Capricorn is about really, it's about like who we are in the world, how our public identity, and some structures such as business structures like corporations and you know, places of business in that way. It's also about the government. And so, you know, those are some areas where we're going to be experiencing some big change and some big transformation as a result of those two planets meeting. And, you know, we're all kind of seeing the build up globally to how some changes may be called for, may be necessary in government or in business structures, different Capricorn type things. And so that's the case globally, but then in your personal chart as well, you can look at where this part of your chart is, this Capricorn energy, and that'll let you know where some profound changes and transformations are happening for you as well. And so this Capricorn energy, as I was mentioning, it's really emphasized in April because Saturn and Pluto are very close together. Saturn's at 20 degrees, Pluto's at 23. And the other factor is that the South Node is at 21 degrees. So it's right sandwiched in between. The South Node represents what we're letting go of, what we're releasing trauma around, what we're healing collectively. And so again, it's about with those Capricorn type topics, that's where we're getting a transformation, and we're discovering and purging and releasing what is not healthy, what has, you know, outlived its time in that area. And so the other reason why this energy is highlighted in April is because Saturn and Pluto are about to turn retrograde. So they're moving very slowly in the sky, and that time when a planet turns retrograde also really highlights its energy and really drills down on the specific area where it's traveling. Saturn's going to turn retrograde April 29th and Pluto April 24th. So not too long after this full moon, we'll have those planets turn retrograde. And so, because they are at 20 degrees for Saturn and 23 degrees for Pluto, they're squaring that full moon in Libra at 29 degrees. And so really it's presenting a challenge to that new moon, a challenge to your state of balance, basically your ability to cultivate those Libra energies. And, you know, wherever that is showing up in your life, if you know where Capricorn is, and that'll show you where there could be some challenge or some, you know, things that are getting stirred up that are presenting this opportunity for you to go to a higher level with your state of balance, because this is perhaps making it more challenging to be balanced so you can have the opportunity to increase your skills in that area. And the other thing that's interesting about this is that we're at the halfway point too between eclipse season. We had eclipses in Capricorn back in January, and then we'll have eclipses in Capricorn and Cancer coming up in July. So right now we're at the midway point of the eclipses, and that as well is creating sort of a turning point in that storyline that's happening this whole year about this dance of Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node in Capricorn. And then finally, to take a look at the numerology of this particular day that the full moon is happening on, it's the 19th of the month. And the 19, it's got the 1 and the 9 together, the first number and the last number of the 1 through 9 core energies of numerology sequence. And they come together, 1 plus 9 is 10. That reduces to a 1. And so it's a 1 day for the core energy of that day. But the 1 and the 9 really represent endings and beginnings. And it's interesting how that lines up really well with this being a full moon at the very end of a Libra. So right before the sun is going to go into Taurus the next day, into a new sign. So there'll be a shift of energy there. And also we have Venus, who is the ruler of this full moon, because Venus rules Libra, and she is at the very end of the sign of Pisces, right about to move into Aries the next day as well, on the 20th. And so there really is this shift in energy going on right now with this full moon. We also have Mercury recently entered the sign of Aries on April 17th, and Mercury had been moving through Pisces for the past 2 months before that, which is very unusual for Mercury to spend that long in a sign. And so there was a big shift in energy a couple days before this full moon, and then the day right after there is another shift. And so even again, harping on the same point again about this ability to cultivate these energies of balance and harmony within ourselves in the midst of changing energies, and especially at this time of the heightening of the Saturn-Pluto energy, which can feel at times definitely perhaps kind of dark because the South Node is there, which is about, things that could be traumatic or challenging from the past that need to be released. And also because these planets, Saturn and Pluto, are wanting to create this great transformation. And sometimes when great transformation is happening, there can be periods of challenge or confusion or difficulty as a new thing is being birthed and old things are dying away. So definitely, I think it's a blessing that the universe is giving us this opportunity to focus again, learn more about this Libra energy of balance and harmony and how we can cultivate that within ourselves so that it doesn't matter as much what's happening on the outside, because we know how to go within and find this place of peace, balance, and harmony. We know we can always return to that place. So that's it for the full moon coming up on April 19th. I hope it's a wonderful experience for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.